How you ain't gonna take care of that man's mother?
How you gonna lie on this man's kids? Welcome to Burbank TV. I go by the name of Charm. Today we're going to be watching another Umar Johnson interview, and we're going to be discussing the idiocracy that is Umar Johnson. And we ain't gonna waste no time. We're just gonna jump right into it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Umar Johnson.
Speaking of Whitney Houston, you feel like she was killed, right?
Yes. Whitney Houston was murdered because she was no longer of value to the music company that owned her. Whitney Houston was no longer of value to the music company that owned her. Whitney Houston wanted her masters. She wanted her publishing. She wanted an audit on her money, and she was not going to get it. Here's the question that got to be asked. You're at the Los Angeles Hilton, I believe. That's a 5-star hotel. There's cameras on every floor. Whoever went into Whitney Houston's hotel room to take her life, it's on camera.
Now, I grew, I'm 44. I grew up listening to Whitney Houston when I was a kid, and I loved her songs. But at the same time, let's keep it 100. She has some issues going on, especially if you've seen that reality show she had with Bobby Brown and her kids and all that. She definitely has some issues. She was wild. She was not the person that everybody thought she was, until nobody found out until she had this reality show. So, I mean, it's very possible that she died just the way they said she died. But then again, we don't know. We just don't know. It does seem kind of suspicious, just a little bit. He might for once be a little right here. I don't know. I still have trouble trusting.
Who had the power to tell the owners of the Los Angeles Hilton or Las Vegas Hilton, I think it was Los Angeles, who had the power to make them confiscate that Whitney Houston murder video?
Well, if you think about this, Diddy beat up Cassie in a hotel in Los Angeles, and there was video of it, and he paid $50,000 to have that video sent to him. So if there was a conspiracy to kill Whitney Houston, rest in peace, it probably wouldn't be that hard to get the video if indeed it was a record company
showing the murderers entering the room. It had to be somebody with a lot of power. I believe it was somebody from Whitney Houston's label. And I believe that somebody allowed the Grammy party to continue while Whitney Houston's body was upstairs dead and floating in the tub. Whitney Houston was murdered. Michael Jackson was murdered because he was no longer of value to his company. He owned half of the Beatles catalog. He did not plan on selling it. The reason he was going to...
I'm pretty sure, if memory serves me correctly, he owned the entire Beatles catalog.
To go on tour was to make enough money to satisfy the debt that his music company put him into, and he was put into that debt with his Invincible album. They sabotaged the Invincible album on purpose, putting Michael Jackson into debt so he'd have to give them back the Beatles catalog.
And that's crazy because that's actually a dope album.
Owning the Beatles catalog basically made Michael Jackson 50% owner of that music company, and they hated him for it. How dare you manipulate your way with your economic genius, Michael Jackson?
Well, okay, to be honest, he's part right here. What it was is Sony had bought 50% of a company called, I think it was ATX or ATV or something like that. And what they did is they bought catalogs, different artist catalogs. Well, Michael Jackson was the owner of that. So when they bought 50% of that. I don't know exactly how it went, but somehow, yeah, Michael Jackson ended up being the owner of 50% of this ATX or ATV. When it merged with Sony, Sony became Sony ATX or ATV, whatever it is. So that's why he's saying Michael Jackson owned half of his record company. And I mean, he didn't own half of his record of Sony. He definitely didn't. And it wasn't just the Beatles catalog. It was like 750,000 songs, if I'm not mistaken. And actually, I think he owned Beyonce, like the rights to some Beyonce songs, and he bought the rights to Eminem songs. When after Eminem had roasted him in a song, he turned around and bought the rights to Eminem songs. So,
with your economic genius, how dare you manipulate your way into 50% ownership of the most powerful music company in the world? They murdered Michael Jackson. He should have never come back to the LA Staples Center to practice for those concerts. He was living with his brother in Dubai. He should have stayed his ass in the Middle East. Michael Jackson is my all-time favorite recording artist. Tupac Shakur is my all-time favorite rapper. Whitney Houston is my all-time favorite female vocalist. And all three were murdered by the music industry with complicity from the white power structure and the FBI. And you do know that Michael Jackson's estate sold a sizable portion of Michael Jackson's catalog, back to the company that murdered Michael Jackson. And on that Michael Jackson note,
yeah, it was about $600 million worth or something like that's a ballpark figure. It was roughly 700 million worth of the rights to Michael Jackson's music or his publishing or something like that. I'm not really too versed on the music industry, but I did hear just actually like a few weeks ago. I didn't know this about these record companies. What they do is, once you sign a contract to a record company, they take out a life insurance policy on you, which is crazy because I mean, I've always heard that some of these artists are worth more dead than they are alive. And the record company takes out a life insurance policy that's supposedly worth around 10 times as much as that artist's record deal. So if the company pays an artist like $2 million in a record deal, they have a life insurance policy for 20 million. So say if the artist don't pan out, like, okay, let's take this for instance. Drake signed a $400 million deal with UMG. Now, what would be 10 times that amount? What? 4 billion? Now, say if this beef that Drake just had with Kendrick tanked his career, and his $4 million that UMG was planning to recoup and then some does not come back to them, they could easily have something happen to Drake. Well, I ain't gonna say easily, but they could have something happen to Drake and recoup their money and then some. Tenfold, by the way. So yeah, I just hope nothing happens to Drake. So anyways, yeah, I heard that the record companies do that kind of stuff, and that's crazy to me. I wouldn't wish any of my kids joining the record industry after hearing that. Let's go.
Did you just see how his so-called son, the white boy Prince Michael, is not willing to give Mother Jackson, Michael Jackson's mother, needs some money, and Michael Jackson's fake Caucasian son won't give his black grandmother any of his so-called father's money? That's happening right now. Yes, the white boy won't give his Michael Jackson's mother no money. They in court right now.
Wow.
And this is why we got to stop the bunny.
Man.
Wow, he can't be serious. He can't be serious on this. He can't be serious on this. You know why? Because when Michael Jackson passed away, he left a trust fund for his kids. he also left a separate trust for his mother, she's the sole beneficiary on, right? Well, none of them can get money from the estate. None of them, not even the kids. Not the kids are not blocking the grandmother from, they're not just not giving the grandmother any money. The IRS claims that the Michael Jackson estate owes $700 million in taxes. That's why none of them have access to the money. It's not what he just said. It's not that the white grandkids, well, I don't even know, I put that in quotations, but I don't know why it's saying that Michael Jackson's kids aren't giving their grandmother money. They don't have it to give to her. They're blocked just like she is. The IRS has blocked them all from getting money from Michael Jackson's estate.
That's disgusting.
It's
Man.
crazy. How you ain't going to take care of that man's mother?
How you going to lie on this man's kids?
How you ain't going to take care of that man's mother?
How you going to lie on this man's kids?
But I'm going to go to Vanessa Bryant. Same offense. No disrespect to Vanessa Bryant, Kobe's widow. But Kobe's mother and father just sold his NBA championship ring. Why?
Guess what? Wrong. He's wrong. You know what? I'm going to let this play out. I'm going to let this play out before I explain why he's wrong.
Why? Because they need capital to live. They're elders. They need some money. From what I've heard, Vanessa Bryant ain't giving them a dime. Kobe Bryant left her almost $1 billion. And you mean to tell me that you don't have enough decency, enough respect to float Kobe Bryant's mother and father $1 million? Even if it's one time, Art. Even if it's one time. I don't really like y'all. I don't really mess with y'all. Y'all son told me not to be bothered with y'all.
I want to say something so bad. I'm going to let me finish though.
You are his parents. Because he would have never existed without you. Because if y'all don't give birth to Kobe Bryant, he never becomes my husband. I'm never in this financial position. Because of that, let me give you $1 million.
Hey, all I'm about to say real quick is this just goes to prove that he just spews stuff out of his mouth without doing any kind of research, because this stuff you can look on Google. You can look on Google and find out if what he's saying is true or not.
Let me throw him $5 million. I'm not giving you no more, but I'm going to give you $5 million, but you can't come back again. Can we agree on that? Can we sign a non-disclosure? I'm going to give you this $5 million, but y'all can't come back. Fine. Give us the $5 million. She won't even throw them $1, bro.
I wouldn't either.
And then people get upset with me for being against interracial marriage. Listen.
Well, now let's break that down. Let's break it down. Because he just whole lied. Either that or he just didn't do the research, which is another problem all in and of itself. Because all right, listen. What he just said, you can go right on Google and find out that Kobe Bryant back in 2013 filed an injunction against his parents who were auctioning off some of his memorabilia that he had gifted to them throughout the years. High school stuff, early NBA stuff, including a championship ring. I think it was 2 championship rings. Maybe. But here's what happened. And in this, I actually put out a short video about this, and I need to make a little slight correction. I said that the auction company advanced his parents $450,000. That part was false. I'm gonna correct myself. He filed the injunction against his parents to stop the auction of the memorabilia, right? Well, the auction house had advanced his parents $1 million, $450,000 of which his parents had already spent for a down payment on a house. A down payment on a house. If they didn't have money, why are they putting $450,000 down on a house instead of taking $450,000 or $250,000 and buying a house? Just me. But anyways, so yeah, they sold that ring back in 2013 because what happened was he stopped most of the auction. They were able to sell, or no, maybe I think it was either they were only able to sell like 10% of the memorabilia, or he was only able to stop the sale of 10% of it, something like that. But that sale of that ring happened in 2013. Now, it is back on the market right now. The person who bought it back in 2013 is put it back on the market now. So he's confused. I mean, we know he's confused, obviously, but he's really confused about this situation. Not to mention, Kobe Bryant's parents were like racist against his wife. That's why they had a falling out to begin with. And in 2013, he didn't want to give them money for a new house. That's why they tried to auction off some of his stuff, and he ended up having to stop, or trying to stop it. The sad part is after he died, they auctioned off the rest of it. Let's go.
I'm not against white women. I'm not against red women, brown women, or yellow women. I am against the transfer of wealth out of the black community to white people who have
because he wants the transfer of wealth from the black community to his pocket.
Taken enough from black America. Why are we marrying Asian women? Why are we giving our wealth to them? Why are we marrying white women? Why are we giving our wealth to them? We don't have enough as it is to rebuild black America. And you out here marrying women who going to take you to the cleaners when you no longer a celebrity, when you no longer got any money. Look at Michael Strahan. I just read an article the other day that Michael Strahan's white ex-wife, who already received $16 million, I believe was the amount, in the divorce settlement, plus a certain monthly allotment, she said that's not enough. She wants more money. And then I read sometime.
I will admit, that's a good example right there. Like, Michael Strahan's ex-wife about that money, bro.
Back that RG3, the former NFL quarterback, he married a snow bunny, divorced her. She took a sizable chunk of his wealth.
Wrong. Wrong. RG3's ex-wife, she divorced him after finding out that he cheated on her while she was pregnant. In a divorce, she settled for $1.1 million. And I think like $36,000 in child support. I think it was like $36,000 a month or something like that in child support. But let's be honest. He's an ex-football player, and he's got his football shows that he's doing, football analysis shows that he's doing. So he got that, you know what I mean? So she didn't leave with a sizable amount because he was definitely worth way more than $1.1 million. You feel me?
She wants more money. Tiger Woods' girlfriend sued.
I don't think she wants more money. She's actually started her own business and doing good on her own.
Him last year for putting her out the house, and she was not even his wife. What are we doing? What?
Yeah, that situation is kind of wild, but it's not. She didn't try to sue him because like he put her out. She tried to sue him because she claims that he promised that she could still live in the mansion for like another 6 years. So she was trying to sue him for what it would cost for her to rent a comparable mansion for the next 6 years or some crap. That's another good example. But hey, I mean, even a broken clock's right twice a day, right? I mean, geez. I mean, I'll give him his props. He's right about a couple other things he said in this interview, but he's wrong about most.
What are we doing? When you are no longer making that money, these white women leave you, and they're going to take as much as they can get on their way out the door. But
wait, if you're married to a black woman, isn't it the same thing? And you guys get a divorce, she's going to try to take you for everything you got.
Compare that to what black women get. Did you see what happened when Robert De Niro divorced the black woman, or when the black woman divorced Robert De Niro? She did not get half his money. No? Robert De Niro's ex-black wife did not get half of his money. You know what the courts gave her? $1 million.
$1 million
A year.
a year.
You're going to get $1 million a year until you get married. The minute you get married, you will no longer collect from your ex-husband. We don't benefit
Whoa, wait, what?
from interracial marriage. And here's my question, Art. If white people love us,
Wait a minute. How did Robert De Niro's ex-wife not benefit from her interracial marriage to Robert De Niro? She's leaving the marriage with $1 million guaranteed for life, as long as she doesn't get married again. So I don't know how old she is, but say she turns out to live another 20 years. She's getting $20 million. Not to mention, he had to buy her a He had to buy her a $6 million mansion. To also, he didn't mention that. Robert De Niro had to buy his ex-wife a $6 million mansion, on top of the fact he has to pay her $1 million every single year, either until she gets married or until she dies. Who's getting a better deal here? $16 million versus $1 million for the rest of your life, plus a $6 million mansion. Right? Not to mention, he's talking about the transfer of black money out of the black community. Well, more than likely, they weren't spending that money in the black community anyways. Second, Janet Jackson married a dude of some other race and divorced him and got $200 million. You don't hear him talking about that. Wasn't Mariah Carey married to a wealthy white dude too and got some money out of that? Pretty sure. I think. I don't know. I'm just talking.
so much.
Just like Umar.
If they got all this love for
just like Umar, except I got a little more facts behind my stuff.
black people, why is the bedroom the only place they can show it? Why is behind closed doors the only time we see the love that white America professes for us? Why we don't see it in the classroom with our children? Why we don't see it in the courtroom when we're being sentenced to twice the amount of time in prison for the same offense as white people? Why we don't see it in the banks when we're looking for business loans and home loans? Why we don't see it in society when we're...
Okay, well, to be honest, they're not seeing it in the classroom. It all depends on where you go to school at. And this holds true for all races. It depends on where your kids go to school at. If they're going to school in a poor district, guess what? The schooling's going to be poor. But if you can afford to send your kids to like a charter school, their education is going to be a lot better, no matter what color they are. Right? See, this is some of his BS that he likes to spew. His racist BS at that. And then I ain't even gonna argue with the courtroom thing. I ain't gonna argue with that because he might have a point. He might have a point on that. Like I said, a broken clock's right twice a day, right? Jeez. Now, as far as the bedroom, I ain't gonna touch that one.
We're being murdered indiscriminately by white mass killers and white police. If white people love black people so much, why don't we see it?
Black people are being murdered at a high rate by white mass people.
Anywhere else beyond the bedroom. We ain't nothing but a fetish. We ain't nothing but a pet. We ain't nothing but...
Hell, I'll be a fetish shit. I don't know what he talking about.
Something for white folks to have a little bit of fun with, and when they done with you, they drop your ass off and take everything you got. It's not worth it. But we can't stop because the low self-esteem of black men, dictates that we get a white woman in order to feel better about ourselves and more equal to the white man.
See, and that's the guilt shaming shit. You know, like, oh, you got a white woman because you don't want to be black. You feel like you're inferior to the white man and you hate black. You hate yourself. No. What? No. I love myself. First of all, I'm proud to be black. I do have a white wife, but that's just the person I fell in love with and got married to. That has nothing to do with trying to please white men. Pause.
And speaking of marrying
Or feeling inferior for that matter.
Asian woman, how you feel about
Got me fucked up.
Jeezy divorcing his wife?
I read something, and shout out to Jeezy. I hope he comes out on top and gets his daughter. Shout out to Jeezy. What I read was there was a clause in the prenup, and forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but if memory serves me correctly, there was a clause in the prenup that says she could get half or something to that.
He said, forgive me if I'm wrong on this. You've been wrong. You've been wrong on a lot in this video, and you ain't asked for forgiveness on that. So
Effect if he engages in extramarital affair, if he commits adultery, it nullifies a part of the prenup that prevents her from taking half. And so she's making the argument, at least from what I'm hearing, she's making the argument that Jeezy cheated on her. And because he cheated on her, she should now have the right to go after most, if not all, of his assets. I hope that's not true, but that is the report. Like I said, I stand in solidarity with my brother Jeezy. I hope he comes out of that situation, but it's
when it came out that him and Jeannie Mai were getting married, he did bash Jeezy for that. Just saying. But in hindsight, well, now the divorce is over, it's settled, and I guess there was NDAs, and we don't know the full detail. I don't think it was half though. I think she got a sizable amount. I don't think it was half. And also, that was just a bad idea anyways. Everybody knew she was pretty much off her rocker. I didn't know. I didn't expect that to work. And I'm a Jeezy fan. I love Jeezy. I did not expect that to work whatsoever.
It's never a good thing to date outside your race or marry outside your race, because when it doesn't work out, do you want your black daughter being raised by white people who don't like black people? Do you want your black son being raised by Asians who don't like black people? Do you want, your black children raised by Arabs or East Indians or Latinos who don't like black people? So you got to consider the fact that half of the marriages in America end in divorce. So if half the marriages end in divorce, mixed race marriages as well. So
same race marriages as well.
What are you going to do when your black son is being raised by a white mother who just married a Nazi as a husband? So now you're black.
Come on. See, this is part of the rhetoric.
Black son is living in a house with a Nazi as his stepdad. These are things that you got to think about. I wish my brother Jeezy well. And I just think it's just another example as to why we need to stick with our own. I love black women. I'm for black women. I'm always going to defend black women. I don't care who.
You guys did notice when he said, I'm for black women, I defend black women, he went, it's another form of posturing.
Don't like it. They are our natural God-given mates. They are who we are supposed to be with. We are not supposed to be mixing our seed because we are the chosen ones, and the chosen ones should only be
Now, I am not a psychologist, and just like Umar here, I don't work in the psychology field. Just like him. He doesn't work at all. He doesn't have a job. And that brings me back to where he was talking about discrimination in the banks. The banks don't discriminate on color because they know what a lot of people today don't know. It's not the color of your skin that matters. It's the color green that matters. That's what banks know. Umar here, he probably does get discriminated on when he goes for loans and stuff because he don't have a job. He doesn't work. He's been running a scam for 14 years. So he has not had a job to get a loan. You feel me? So that's probably why he experiences discrimination in the banks. I have a friend who's into real estate, self-made guy. uses banks all the time for loans, to buy houses, to buy and flip houses. Uses banks all the time. Uses his credit and everything. What he's talking about is some BS. Straight BS. I don't know how y'all follow this guy.
Producing with other chosen ones.
But hey, it's great
it don't
for the
make
channel,
us
though.
better than nobody, but we're different from everybody because we're the original man and woman, and we should not be mixing our seed outside of our kingdom.
Now, wait a minute. If we're God's chosen people, doesn't that make us better than everybody, though? Because we're the chosen ones. That's what I would feel. Yeah, hey, I'm better than you. I'm chosen. He contradicts himself all the time. And people are just so taken by his speech and his over talking. They think he sounds smart, but when you really break it down, he doesn't. When you take what he says and you just do a simple Google search, you will realize he's full of crap. He's a con man. If you don't believe me he's a con man, please, please, please read or listen to the 48 Laws of Power. You will really start to understand not only what I'm talking about, but what he's talking about. And you will be better off for that. For now, Burbank TV. Visit burbankclothing.com. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. I'm your guy Charm saying Umar is full of shit. I'm up out of here. Peace.